Hello, welcome to today's astrology study group. And we are going to put into action a little bit of the medical astrology that we've been looking at. So it's a bit of just bending things and getting an order of how do you assess something. And we'll start right in. And let me go to this. Actually, no, let me go to, bear with me a second. I had a way to do the whiteboard. I was trying to do something different today to get, if I can find it. Oh, I had it written. Okay, I kind of figured it wouldn't go. So let's do this. There we go. Okay. Here we go. So what we're going to do is look at how do you assess something? How do you start looking at a chart and get a taste of it? So we're going to start with the sun today, and maybe the ruler of the sun, Mars and Saturn. So we'll just see how far we get, and maybe we'll just look at a few people and go from there. So I give you a few things to look at, and we're going to analyze the planet, and we're going to start with the sun. And I already did mine, but I'll show you what we're going to do. And then we'll note the sign. So I have the sun in Aries. So we know that then we go to the next one is the polarity. So that really means, is it male or female, positive or negative? I like to say that the male signs are positive and the feminine side are negative or receptive. That's just how I note them. So anything that's fire and anything that's air, I'm going to give a positive sign. Anything that's earth or anything that's water, I'm going to give a negative sign. So it's just also in the terms of medical astrology, letting you know where there's more energy or less energy, overstimulated, understimulated, basically. And the next one is the horizon. Is this planet above, in the horizon, or is it below? If it's above, from planets 7 through 12, that's above where it's daytime, that will be a positive because it's hotter, it's with the sun. And if it's below the horizon, it will put a negative, or it will be nighttime and it will be more receptive. And then we go to the dignity of that. So if, this is where you have to know a little bit of your dignity, or go look it up in a chart. The sun in Aries, Aries is exalted, or the sun is exalted in Aries. So I'm going to write exalt right there. So I know that that's more, it's going to be a good thing for the sun here. The sun in Aries, it's exalted, but that's hard to say. And then we'll note, where is it? It's happens to be in the ninth house. And then I just wrote that the ninth house is naturally the house of Sagittarius, which is a fire house. So I'm just going to write that element here. And then, are there aspects to the sun? And I wrote yes. And then just there's a quincunx, a semi-sextile. So I will show you. Let me get over here. And then I can stop share, and then I will reshare that for you. Okay, so let me grab my chart. No, it's probably not going to do it. Let me get the new share. I don't think it flips. All right, here we go. This is my chart. And we're looking at the sun, and we see it's 16 degrees Aries. The house cusp there is 18 degrees Aries. So it's just at the midheaven. You can see that's just right up there. And it's in Aries, and it's in the ninth house. So that's, again, the natural house of Sagittarius. And let's see, you pretty much know everything else that I said, but the aspects. So what's aspecting it? The closest thing here is Neptune at 17 degrees, and that's a quincunx, the semi-sextile. I'm sorry, inconjunct. What am I saying? The inconjunct. And it's actually better if something has an aspect than not, even if it's a slightly offsetting one. This is kind of an annoying one. There may be a problem here. I'm not going to analyze mine and everybody's, but I just want to show you how to point this out. But then because the sun is exalted in Aries, it helps to offset that. Pluto sort of, it's 4 degrees away and it's outer planet. So it's sort of, but not real tight. Okay. Where the Neptune is really is closer. I like to use an orb, a close orb, maybe a degree or degree and a half. And that's it. It's really not conjunct. I mean, although there's different rules of allowing how much conjuncting energy. You can say, well, maybe Mars is a close conjunction. Even though Jupiter is in Aries, it's quite far away. It's 12 degrees away. All right. So we looked at that one. Let's look at another one. Let's do another one. And I don't know if it's switching, but I'm just going to do it. Let's look at Elon Musk. So if you have the chart, or if you wrote that down, otherwise I'll prompt you and we'll just kind of go through this together. So we want to look at the sun. Actually, we might just do him kind of all the way through. So I'm not going to flip through, but I'll make notes so I can tell you, so we can go back and forth. So if we look at the sun and we see that it's in Cancer right there, and then we know that Cancer is its element is what am I thinking here? It's cardinal, so that a cardinal, it's let me just say it's actually a cardinal sign. It's a water sign. So that's going to make it negative or receptive. So we have water, and then it's a receptive feminine sign, and then it is above the horizon. So we get kind of like a plus there because it's going to be warmer or hotter. And how about dignity? Cancer, I don't think it's anything. The sun in Cancer. No, I don't think it's, I've got to look at mine too. Nope. No, it's all good. So it's nothing. It's not anything. It's not ruled. It's not exalted. It's not fall. It's not detriment. So it's not adding anything either way on that. And then the house, it's in the 10th house, which is in an earth house. And that's also negative or feminine or receptive also. And then aspects to the sun. Okay, so we have a 6 degree, or Mercury's close, but that's not real tight. Anything close to 6 here? Well, we've got a square to Uranus, so we'll go ahead and say yes, there is something. So we got a square, which is kind of a challenging. Let's keep going. Well, we could say the moon. I mean, because the sun moon, you can get a little bit more orb, and then that's more receptive. We've got a sextile, so we can say that because that would be the one less than the square. So we got sextile with the moon and a square with Uranus, so kind of like 1 and 1. What else we got here? That's kind of far. Neptune, it's at 0, but one a little closer. That's the vertex, in case you're wondering. We'll look at that another time. That's pretty much it. I mean, we've got, no, that's 5 degrees away. So basically that. So the sun, it's I'd say it's kind of neutral here. If we add everything up, it's not too much, too little, because we've got it in colder signs. It's in the negative or receptive, but it's above the horizon, and it has a good aspect, it's aspected. It has kind of a good one as well as a challenging one. Okay, now let's look a little bit further. So the next thing we would want to know is the ruler of the sun, the shape of, what's the shape of the ruler, the sun's ruler. And we see that it is in Cancer. So what rules Cancer? And that's the moon. And we're going to go look where the moon is. And we see the moon is over there in the 12th house in Virgo. Okay, so now we're automatically seeing a little bit of like emotional nervousness. So we try to think of like when you're looking at these symbols, to have some keywords. So moon, emotions or how you feel. Virgo, analytical, nervous, nitpicky. Yeah, Virgo energy. Okay. Okay. So you kind of get that, you know, go over it in your head a little bit there. All right. So it's there. It's, what else do we knew? Okay. So that's Virgo. So that's an earth sign. And then earth is, you know, feminine or receptive or negative there. So that's like, you know, the negative. And again, it's not negative, good or bad. You know that. Okay. Just have to say that. And it's above the horizon. So that's like a positive. So we got like kind of offsetting now. And we see, let's see, dignity. Okay, so moon in Virgo. Um, so let's see, moon in Virgo. Nothing there. There's no dignity with that. So you don't have to worry about that. There's nothing on that one, moon in Virgo. And we're just going across with his moon, and it's in the 12th house. And we'll say 12th. And then that's in a water house. It's, you know, the Pisces house. So that's in an opposition, I would say. So we're going to put a little, just a little negative blib there. You know, it's, well, we can go a couple ways with that. It's in a water house, and that's an earth sign. You know, the moon is in an earth sign, Virgo, in a water house. So that kind of gets along on that level, but it's in the 12th house of Pisces, and Virgo's is opposite Pisces. So I'm going to just, just kind of we're evaluating the placement of the moon. It's not in a totally happy place. It, you know, the moon is, you know, nervous in Virgo, right? It's what else did I see here? Moon. It's in the neutral place. It doesn't, it's not in its rulership or fall or that, but it's just kind of a nervous place for the moon. But again, it's in an earth sign, and that gets along much better with the water element of the moon. And then it's in a water house. So we got that little bit going on, but it's opposite of it. So it's like a little noogly, niggly, naggy kind of a thing. Okay. And then the last little thing that we'll look at with that is the any aspects to the moon. So the moon, we said that we already know that it's an aspect to the sun. So yes, it has an aspect. We like to see planets that are well integrated into the chart, or at least integrated, you know, the ones that we're assessing for health. So we just looked at the sun, we're looking at the moon again, just review for you. And we're going to just look at how we got to rate. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. We have to rate the planets. So I'm going to go back so you can see it again, because I know this is, let me get it up. Just so you can see, new share, what we're doing and looking at again, and jot it down while we finish going through these. So again, you're going to like grab, you know, like this one was mine. And then I just wanted to just run through this. So it's whatever planet, then you find out what sign it is. And then like, what's the polarity of that sign? Is it masculine or feminine? Okay. So positive, it's, you know, plus sign if it's masculine, negative if it's feminine. Is it above or below the horizon? Put a plus sign if it's above, and negative sign if it's below. And if there's anything with dignity, is it in its home or rulership? Is it in its fall, or is it exalted? Like in this case, the sun is exalted in Aries, or is it in its detriment? Just note that, because it will make the sun stronger or weaker. So we're evaluating it. All right, because that's your vital force, you know, your sun. All right, then what house is it in? It's in the 9th house, and that's a fire house. And we would know at that this is further strengthening the sun. This is a very strong sun. Okay, it's exalted, it's above, it's masculine, it's in fire. And then is there aspects to it? Yes. And then I just noted that there's a quincunx. So it's a little It would have been nice if there was a trine or something to my sun, me. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of 7 things. You know, the planet, the sign, of course, of the planet, and then its polarity. There's like 5 things: polarity, male, female, above or below the horizon, its dignity, where is it, you know, the house placement, any aspects to it. Okay, so let's do some more. Like little puzzles. Let's go back to okay, we were looking at Elon. Let's go back to Elon. Okay, so just to review, we looked at his sun it's in Cancer, and we went through, all of that, that it's in, water sign, it's negative, it's above the horizon, it's in an earth house, it it has aspects to it, because you can see what one of them here is sextile to the moon and square over here to Uranus. Okay, so we qualified that. So it's got some teeth there. The sun has got some backbone and personality. We just did the moon. Now let's go look at Mars and Saturn. So we're going to get a little bit more about the health. So the sun kind of looks like it's in pretty good shape. The moon seems pretty good shape, a little niggly. I think that's the word I wanted. It's like little noogie, little like naggy kind of thing about the Virgo moon. And then it's sort of in conflict in the 12th house. It's like not real comfortable. Virgo wants to not, it wants to it wants to be analyzing, making lists, doing something, and it's in the Neptunian spacey out there Pisces house, so it's not totally comfortable. Okay, I'm almost do Mars next. So Mars, oh good, we got a different one. Oh good. Okay, so Mars is down here in the bottom of the chart in the 5th house. Move that a little bit. Okay, there's my sheet of Mars. Mars is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is a masculine sign. Well, it's a Aquarius is a air sign. Let's get that first. And then it's a masculine sign, so it's negative. And which one? I'm trying to get them in order for you. Okay, so it's below the horizon, and then that's negative. And how about any dignity? So Mars, let's see, when Mars is in Aries, and then its detriment would be Libra. I'll just go run through these for you. It's exalted in Capricorn, and it's its detriment in Cancer. So nope, none of those fit. So that's kind of neutral with the Mars. And it's in the 5th house, which is a fire house. So it's the natural house of Leo. So here's another one, kind of like the last one. Okay, so well, let's just say, okay, we said fire. Okay, so it's the natural house of Leo, and it's in its opposite sign. So I'm going to give it a little negative with its placement. First of all, it's below the horizon. It's in its opposite sign. It's well, how do I say it? It's the opposite sign of the house. Okay, not of Mars. Okay, so you get that stated that correctly. So that sign, that's natural, that's a Leo house. And we have a cold Aquarian Mars. Mars is, being cold underneath the surface. So I would tend to put a little like, I'm going to look for maybe. So now it's like, to me, seeing these kind of like a little eyebrow raise. It's not totally happy. Like it's not even comfortable like the sun and the moon was. So Mars is, or I would say some heat or fire or blood circulation or flow to something might be a little slow to restricted. It's also close to the North Node, which is interesting. We'll examine that another time, but it's just like, point of destiny. So something about that. Look further on it. But anyway, so we're going to note just a little bit, just keep a little note in your head about that. And then we'll fill out the rest of the chart. Is Mars making any aspects to anything? So look around and, let's go clockwise. So yeah, it's close to the North Node. We're looking for 20 degrees, anything close to 20. Venus is really the only thing. So we're going to write yes. And then what is it? We've got an air and an air. Okay, so we've got a trine from Mars to Venus. How nice. Look at that. That's kind of like, very interesting. And interesting, just the cusp of this house isn't Aquarius, though. It's Capricorn. So that just kind of complicates it a little bit, but it's a little bit like a cold area for him. So that I would think, just while we're here, my mind would already be thinking of what like we have Mars in Aquarius. The Aquarius is near the end, it's like second to the last sign. So it's going to be near the bottom part of the body, fibula, ankles, that shin area of parts of the body, also arterial flow, that some kind of circulation here. So we just got to think about that a little bit. And that's what that means. So we're going to then combine, the fifth house, which is also, coronary circulation, the blood flow. But then we've got the Venus making that nice aspect. So the veins might be arteries. So I would just put a little note in my head about that first thing, because that's one little way you start finding things, because again, the first two, we were all pretty even. So this one is just raising little eyebrows, and I'm just making little notes that I would want to look at that further, or make sure that that is being supported. If he were our client, I would be advising him to make sure that his circulatory system, he's got enough, the right kind of vitamin E. He's got the, to keep the blood happy moving through the whole capillary system. I would make sure he's got enough vitamin C, for the capillaries themselves, and also the whole vitamin C family with the rutin in it. Rutin is part of the vitamin C family, which is especially useful for the veins. We have kind of the there's different parts of the vitamin C family, but the rutin is important for strengthening the veins. And the vitamin C is important antioxidant. There's the trace molecules. Well, it's just a really good part of that equation, but also B vitamins for the heart valves to open and close. Vitamin E is also important for the heart valves to open and close. We'll be looking at the stickiness of his blood, making sure that his blood is moving, that the blood cells are, he's got plenty of antioxidants, you're moving them apart. So that would strengthen that whole system, that whole capillary vein heart system. Okay. Now moving on to Saturn. So another part we're looking at before I move on, where Mars is sometimes is where you get inflammation, but we notice in heat in excess, but here it seems like a deficiency because it's in a cold sign. There's a cold sign ruling the house. It's in an opposite area, and then it's slightly negative. It's in the bottom part of the chart. So I would think that there may be something like this would make me think that there's restriction. And being in the, you think of arteries, then there's scarring, and then there's plaque, and then there's buildup, and then there's, all the problems from that. I would put him on systemic enzymes, those things to support that whole system. Okay, moving on to Saturn. And let's do the same thing. We got Saturn, write their symbol down, write Saturn, or draw the symbol, and then write the symbol for where it's at. It's in Gemini. And then we're going to write Gemini is air, right? Air. We just saw the last one is a negative or masculine sign. This one's above the horizon. We're going to give it a plus. It's in the 8th house, and that's a water house. That's Scorpio. And does it have aspects to it? So 1 degree. Let's see. Does he have anything? Neptune. It's opposing Neptune. Okay, so yes. And then it's got an opposition to Neptune. Oh, isn't that interesting? That makes me think of when I think of Neptune, I think of drugs, poisoning, and then Saturn, anyway, I would be leery of toxins. Let me put it that way. Poisons, toxins of any sorts. Because that's got that opposition, and it's real tight. It's, it's a degree and just a little bit. Okay, anyway, Saturn. We've assessed Saturn. It's kind of neutral. It's, above the horizon, which warms it up. That's definitely a good sign. It's in an air sign. Did I write that right? Maybe I didn't say that right before. An air sign is positive. I don't know. I wrote negative. I guess sometimes you're doing three things at once. I'm not sure if I said that right, but fire and air are negative, or I'm sorry, are positive. They're masculine, so they're positive. So that's going to warm it up a little bit more. Sorry if I misspoke. I'm not sure if I did. So anyway, it's a positive sign because it's masculine. It's above the horizon. Um, it's in a water house though. So, but that's not, doesn't have as much weight as the other. So I'm going to say that that's going to slightly warm up the Saturn. I'm thinking that that's good. I'm more worried about the Mars. I don't say worried, but I'm more it, concerned how that would play out. But let's continue with Saturn. And then we'll go back to Mars when we go into the ruler of that. But this, you can see how kind of intricate you can get with this. So Saturn, what rules Saturn is Gemini. We did this with the moon. We'll carry on here with Saturn. So what rules Gemini is Mercury. So write Mercury. Mercury in Gemini, or Mercury, sorry. And then we'll go see where Mercury is in his chart and assess that, because that's the ruler of Saturn. All right, so hold on if you're kind of getting a little googly, but let's just go over and look at Mercury. Basically, again, it's Saturn is in the sign of Gemini. And what rules Gemini? Mercury. So we're going to go see what shape this is. It's like its ruler. It's like if daddy's in trouble, baby's going to be like, not good either. Right. So Mercury is over here in Cancer. And it's that's a water sign. And that's in that would be negative. So it would kind of dampen it a little bit. And what else do we have here? Element, polarity, we said that. And then it's above the horizon. So that's a plus. It would be good, warming it up. Dignity in Cancer, it shouldn't be anything. Let's see. Mercury. No. Just double check. So there's nothing for or against it. It's not in rulership. It's not in detriment. Okay, so nothing there. And house placement, it's in the 10th house, which is a Capricorn house or Earth. Doesn't really strengthen or, just kind of keeps it sort of neutral. And are there any aspects to it? Is it united with anything, or is it sort of by itself? So 14, anything like 12, 30 to 16. I'm not, the nodes, but I'm looking for a planet, not a place. I'm not seeing anything. No. Okay. So Mercury is not making any aspects. That's interesting. Mercury is not integrated in his chart. And I understand that he's autistic. I mean, it's sort of by the sun, but Mercury's never that far from the sun. And it's 8 degrees away. If it were like at 8 degrees or something, I would say, yeah, conjunct, but no. So Mercury's not integrated. There's like, that is kind of a problem. But then that's going to kind of put maybe some disconnect with the Saturn. We're back to the Saturn. That's why we evaluated that. So if Mercury's not integrated into the chart, then there may be some nervous or mental downplay with this Saturn. So what we're going to look at then now, where is Saturn in his, it's in the Gemini or lungs, respiratory, nervous system area. And if, Mercury, the ruler of that, is not really joined in there could be some lack of communication. There could be nerve sheath misfiring. There could be, I'm just thinking of how that would, that would not be integrated in. Yeah, I don't want to dwell too much, get you off track. So anyway, that's how we just start looking at that. So there's something there. We can dig deeper, but we're just kind of opening the surface of how to look at that at the moment. So what you do is you just kind of tally some stuff up here. So now we're starting to see something form, right? We're starting to see like, that's interesting. So let's go back over to Mars and just assess that a little bit. So Mars is in Aquarius. So we can do this a couple ways. And I kind of like to use both. I like to look at the traditional ruler first. So what rules, the traditional rule of Aquarius was Saturn. So we just went through that. So we got that link back over to Saturn, and then we have the Mercury. So we got more of this maybe disconnect with some systems here. It might be very interesting to see how um, the autism is, the way the nervous system runs. That seems to be a little under fire at the moment. All right, let's also look at the other ruler. If we said the modern ruler of Aquarius would be Uranus. And Uranus, let's go look at that. It's over there in the first house. Over there. It's funny. It's over in the first house. All right, and it's in Libra. Okay. Libra is our first thing is what's element is air. And then an air is the masculine sign. So that kind of gives it that, but then it's below the horizon. Just look at there, just below the horizon. And is it in any, well, it's a traditional, it's a modern ruler, and there's sometimes there's not a lot, not a lot there. So we don't know the dignity of that. Sometimes a lot of discretion on that. But house placement, let's go there. It's in the first house of Aries. And that's kind of opposite Libra. So there's a little bit of a on that. And is there any aspects to it? Let's see, it's semi-sextile the moon. It's close. Let's see, it's square to the sun. That's right, we saw that before. So yes, it's got some aspects. So there's a little trouble there. So maybe a little disjointed or nervous system. Again, we got the electrical system of the body. So this is the beginning, kind of how do we assess things. And I know it's like a little confusing, like, oh my God, all these things, but we have to start somewhere. So we're starting like with the sun, and we're going to see if things, are afflicting on the sun, and then we kind of neutral. We didn't get too far that way. And then we looked at the moon, and we said that was kind of neutral at the moment, just the first layer. And then we look at Mars, and that started to raise some eyebrows. We looked at Saturn, and we started to see how it connected back to Mars, and then over, to Aquarius, and then are just kind of settling in with that information. I don't think I'm gonna do too many. I'm not gonna do anybody else today, because you can see once you do a few of these, I was just gonna go across and just do maybe one of this person, another one, that one, but I want to keep the continuity here. Okay, so I hope that clears it up a little bit. Let me just go back to our little, did I get my whiteboard? Let me see if it'll do it for me. I had it written kind of cool. Bear with me. No, it's not gonna do it. All right, I'm learning on some of these new Zoom features here. I wrote this all out on the whiteboard, but anyway, I did it on this as well. So you can just make yourself a little assessment chart like this, and to start with. That way you've got something to evaluate. And then over on the far right, you can put little notes, plus, minus, like if you've got some of the aspects, you can write them down. And that way you see, gosh, there's a square, and another square, and an opposition. And then it's in its detriment. So that's going to be a little bit of a weak placement. Then start looking where in the body that is. Like, again, if we're looking back at his Mars, we go where in the body, we noticing that it's in Aquarius. So we want to go find what the Aquarius body parts and systems are, what that relates to. And it was in his fifth house. What are the fifth house areas? We got that, the part of the body, and we start to combine those two to get like a picture. And it always paints something that you can start tracking down. Okay, I hope that gives you some levels. Look at yours, and we'll continue with this. So just kind of comb over yours, and at least go through the exercise with your planets and getting your head around it. Then it gives you, once you get that done, it gets that out of your head. Then we can start assessment. But you got to at least get the little 1, 2, 3 steps. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and we will continue on next week. I guess that's it. All right, bye. More to follow. See you next time.